We've all been there, right? The lights go down, the projector starts humming, and your heart just starts hammering in your chest. Public speaking. Yeah, for a lot of us, it's something we dread. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if you could actually turn that feeling of fear into one of your biggest strengths? Well, let's dive in and find out how.
Think about this for a second. Have you ever sat through a presentation just watching the clock, your mind completely checked out? Of course you have. We all have. You're trying to pay attention, but the slide is just a wall of tiny text, and the person up there is just reading it. It's painful. There's a reason we actually have a name for this. It's called death by PowerPoint. It's that horrible moment when the very tools that are supposed to help us communicate end up building a wall between us and the audience. But here's the really good news. This is a totally solvable problem. So, what's the secret sauce? I'll tell you right now, it is not about being born a natural speaker or having some kind of special charisma. It's actually much simpler than that. It's about having a system, a really straightforward two-step framework that you can use every single time. And here it is. It's this simple. Step 1 is all about the deep work, planning for success. This is where you actually build your confidence from the ground up. And then you get the payoff, which is step 2, presenting with confidence. See, when you've done the planning right, this part isn't about a performance anymore. It's just about sharing what you know. So let's start with that foundation. Okay, part 1. Honestly, this is the most critical phase of the entire process. Everything you do when you're finally on that stage, your confidence, how clear you are, your ability to really connect with people, it all comes back to the quality of the planning you do right now. Think about it like this. You wouldn't try to build a giant skyscraper on a weak, shaky foundation, right? Of course not. It would be a disaster. Well, your presentation, that's your skyscraper. And all the planning you do beforehand, that's the deep, solid concrete foundation that makes sure the whole thing stands tall and doesn't fall apart under a little pressure. So the very first pillar of that foundation is built on one simple truth. Real confidence comes from confidence. The more you truly know your stuff, inside and out, the less room there is for fear to creep in. This isn't just about memorizing some facts. It's about building this deep, unshakable belief in what you're actually talking about. All right, once you've got a handle on your material, you have to ask the next, absolutely critical question. Who are you talking to? You can have the most amazing ideas in the world, but if they don't connect with the people listening, they're useless. Who are these people? What do they care about? What's going to make them sit up and really listen? Your message has to be built for them. Next up, let's talk about the clock, which is, let's be honest, a huge source of anxiety for most of us. But you can actually turn it from your enemy into your friend by just planning out your timing. Knowing roughly how long each part is going to take, you get rid of that panic about rushing, or even worse, going way over. It's a small step that pays off big, freeing you up to just be present and relaxed. And finally, the pillar that holds it all together, practice. Seriously. This is where you take your research, your audience insights, your timing, and you make it real. Rehearsing out loud, not just in your head, is completely non-negotiable. It's how you find your natural rhythm, smooth out any clunky sentences, and turn this material from something you've learned into something you truly own. Okay, so we've poured the concrete. We've built that solid foundation. Now it's time for the main event, taking the stage. And with all that preparation in your back pocket, this part becomes way less scary. It's not really a performance anymore. It's just you sharing your ideas with confidence. You know those few minutes right before you start? They can feel like an eternity. But you can get control of that feeling with a few dead simple tricks. Get there early. Walk around the stage. Get comfortable in the space. And always, always have a bottle of water with you. It's not just for a dry throat. It's your secret weapon for taking a strategic pause if you ever lose your train of thought. Listen, you have about 30 seconds to get your audience's attention. That's it. So don't waste it with a weak opening like, hi, my name is... No way. Start strong. Hit them with a shocking statistic, a quick funny story they can relate to, or a powerful quote, something that grabs them immediately and makes them want to know what's next. And remember, your body is talking long before your mouth is. When you slouch or fidget with your hands, you're broadcasting nervousness to everyone in the room. But when you just stand tall, shoulders back, head high, it does more than just look confident. Research actually shows it can make you feel more powerful and in control. It's a simple physical tweak with a huge psychological payoff. Confidence is also an inside game, right? There are two things to keep in your head. First, Don't be afraid to be human. If you stumble over a word, who cares? Just smile about it and move on. It actually makes you more relatable. And second, deliver your message with conviction. Speak as if everything you're saying is a fact. If you believe it, they're much more likely to believe it too.
So you started strong, you delivered your message with confidence, but it can all fall apart if you have a weak finish. How you end your presentation is very often the thing people remember most. So let's make sure it leaves a real, lasting impression.
You have to fight that natural urge to just kind of trail off, that quiet, yeah, that's it. Don't do that. The finish line is your last best chance to drive your point home. You need to cross it with the exact same energy and purpose that you started with.
So how do you actually do it? It's a simple 3-part recipe. First, quickly summarize your main points. Tell them what you told them. It's that final reminder of your core message. Second, hold that confident body language until you are completely done. Don't start packing up your laptop while you're still talking. And finally, a simple, sincere thank you goes a long way. So, the next time you see a presentation on your calendar, try not to see it as a threat. See it as what it really is, an opportunity. An opportunity to share something you believe in, to connect with people, and to make a real impact. You have the framework. You know the steps. So the only question left is, how are you going to make it count?